colleagues, good afternoon. I want to welcome you on behalf of the organizers. My name is Weidenholzer. I'm a member of the LIBE committee and member of the Social Democratic Group. And Michel Reimon, he is member of the Greens. We are organizing together this event. It is the first event in this period on data protection, and I'm very happy to welcome also Wolfie Christl, who is an Austrian researcher. The reason why we organized this conference is that he presented his research a few weeks ago for a German-speaking audience. It was really highly documented and discussed in the German-speaking context, but there was never ever any English presentation. So what we want to do is to give him the possibility to reach out to a European forum, because the issues he is stressing are very important issues for European level. I personally was involved in the data protection legislation in the last period, and I was also involved in the NSA surveillance report. And we normally always have only the feeling that this is a question of how state authorities behave, and surveillance is more or less a question of the citizen. But we believe, and I always stressed it, this is also another aspect, that data are not only controlled by states, by intelligence services, they're also controlled by companies. And there's also the possibility of misusing the data in a very unpredicted way, and these data are used in that sense that we are not regarded as customers anymore, as consumers anymore, so that data are actually being controlled in order to have economic success. So this is the problem behind our today's lecture. So I want to ask my colleague and friend, I'm very happy that he is co-organizing it, Michel Reimon, for a few introductory words, and then after Michel, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I also want to start with thanking Joe for inviting me to join him in this presentation. I think the issue is very important. I'm coming from the globalization movement, which is tries to raise awareness for the power of corporations, how they are influencing democracy. And with this presentation, two issues I'm working on are merging the globalization issue and net politics. And I think we have to be very aware of this. There is a tendency within a majority in the European Parliament to say that the state should keep out of economy, of interfering with issues of companies and corporations. And the same voices are now asking for more surveillance of the same state who does not seem to be capable of regulating the economy. And when we look on the surveillance done by big corporations, big companies, these two issues merge in a perfect manner, and not in a good, perfect sense, I would say. So I'm very happy that we get a brief overview of this, and I think it's a very important issue to keep an eye on this for the next years and maybe even decades, I fear. So,
Hi everybody, sorry. Thanks a lot for this introduction. I'm very happy to be here. It's an honor to me to present my research in the European Parliament. My name is Wolfie Christl, and I'm a technology expert, a researcher, and I'm an activist. Even if I didn't finish my university studies of sociology and computer science, I've been thinking and working about the social impact of information technology since nearly 15 years. From 2000 to 2006, I've been part of a Viennese net culture organization. It was called Public NetBase, a kind of hackerspace, media lab, and maybe also a kind of think tank. At Public NetBase, I helped to organize many international conferences and exhibitions involving leading experts in the fields of copyright, open source, surveillance, digital privacy from all over the world, and so on. In 2012, I co-created Data Dealer. Maybe anyone knows this game, an award-winning educational or serious game about personal data, surveillance, and digital privacy, which is not always so serious. In fact, it's always also fun. Forbes magazine even wrote Data Dealer is the most amusing way to learn the depressing news about your vanishing privacy. Yeah, I don't know. And I founded Cracked Labs, a non-profit organization based in Vienna, Austria. During the development of our Data Dealer game, I did lots of research about the personal data ecosystem in the digital age, and then I published this extensive research report about these issues about 2 months ago. It's about 100 pages, and I tried to give a comprehensive overview about how companies are collecting, analyzing, and exploiting our personal data today. And that's why I'm here. In today's presentation, I'll try to summarize some of my findings, but first of all, do something completely different. Let me introduce you to the quantified self. Okay, no, of course, this guy isn't the quantified self, but he seems to be one of the persons infected of this kind of trend. A few years ago, some people started this movement, also known as self-tracking. They're measuring all kinds of body and health data. Not everybody involved has this kind of tentacles on their heads. Others are, for example, using the on-body monitoring system Body Media. This is a nice ad. My GPS to a healthier life, really creative slogan, cool posing. These devices are tracking your activity, your daily steps, your calories, your heartbeats, your sleep. Those of you who have already used such a device probably know. For all the others, you'd be surprised how much you burn doing laundry. It's another ad, maybe a bit sexist, but you can see it's definitely not the early adopters they're addressing here. Here's an example report. This tool tracks calories, activity, steps, and sleep. Very important, you can enter target values and then try to reach that. Some call this gamification. As you can see, this person is on a weight loss trend. Great. However, only 4 hours of sleep, I would say, not so good. Another ad from their website. I love that it records everything, from sunrise to sunset and beyond. Know your body, change your life is the slogan of Body Media. I would say self-tracking could be a great chance for us. But maybe not only a great chance for individuals like you and me. What if I am a health insurance company and I ask you as my customer, use that kind of device, meet your targets and lower your insurance premiums? Sounds good? Beware, because I am the health insurance company, I could modify that a bit and suddenly the following happens to you. Only a tiny little change. And after that, I send you a letter similar to that. You didn't fully meet your minimum targets for the last 2 billing periods. Please comply with the contract terms. So, will that be the future? Health insurance companies monitoring their customers all day long? You didn't reach your 10,000 steps today. Get up and move. I didn't believe that myself until I did some research about Fitbit, currently the market leader in the field of fitness trackers. If you move to the corporate wellness section on the website, you can see they've already got partnerships with several big companies now. For example, they've got a partnership with the oil company BP. BP's employees can decide to join the Fitbit corporate wellness program. If they reach 1 million steps per year, they get a discount on their health insurance premium. Like many other companies, especially in the US, BP is using self-insurance, so they don't pay for an external health insurance, they do it by themselves. And according to Bloomberg, one of their employees got a discount of $1,200 on his annual insurance bill in 2013 when he reached his 1 million steps per year. I would say $1,200 is not just a tiny little incentive. For many people, this amount would make it mandatory to participate. And this is maybe what the famous internet guru Tim O'Reilly probably is talking about when he says, you know, the way that advertising turned out to be the native business model for the internet? I think that insurance is going to be the native business model for the Internet of Things. As you probably all know, it's not only smartphones or fitness trackers. In the upcoming Internet of Things, more and more objects will have sensors, not so big sensors like this, but smaller sensors, and connections to the network. From e-book readers and smart TVs to connected cars, smart meters, thermostats, and so on. These objects will be everywhere, at home, at work, and in public space. In the field of healthcare, the negative implications could be specifically drastic. For example, already today, persons who ever once had an appointment for psychotherapy won't get a disability insurance policy or an income protection policy anymore, which also covers mental diseases like depression or burnout. By the way, I'm curious, who in the audience has ever been in psychological treatment? So, nobody? I can't believe that. According to the statistics, it should be more. No problem, we'll get it done. Ever heard of the Big Five? The Big Five, or the five-factor model, is one of the most popular personality models in psychology. According to this model, every human being can be described by using 5 main dimensions. Neuroticism, neurotic people are nervous, emotionally unstable, afraid of everything. Extroversion, openness to new experiences. Conscientiousness, so self-discipline, and agreeableness. This is about cooperation and social harmony. The five-factor model is well established. It has been used in more than 3,000 academic papers since many years. Now, a research team from Switzerland did an experiment. They asked 83 persons to fill out a survey and used the classic empirical approach to calculate the values for each of these personality traits. For example, like that. In the second step, they asked all of them to install an app on their phone, which collected some data about their phone usage. It recorded the number of uses of each of these apps, so Office app, Internet app, Music app, and so on, during 8 months. They tracked the number and duration of incoming, outgoing, and missed calls, and the same for short messages. They also had a look at the average word length here. It's metadata, not content, metadata. Then they analyzed all this data and tried to find patterns. They tried to calculate the Big Five personality traits out of this phone log data. And they were successful. They found statistical correlations, not very strong ones, but still correlations. For example, they found out people who've used the Office and calendar apps more often are rather neurotic and less open for new experiences. When it comes to their agreeableness, also quite bad. Heavy internet users on the phone, less extroverted and less open. Watching videos and listening to music, not very consciousness. That doesn't mean that it's always like that, but it's a higher probability. People receiving many incoming calls, less neurotic, and they're probably extroverts. The longer the duration of somebody's incoming calls, the more extroverted, open, and agreeable. Many missed calls, lack of openness. And finally, when somebody is calling lots of different people, it seems like this person could be super social, but if somebody prefers to send messages instead of calling, it sounds like both bad agreeability and bad conscientiousness. Okay, now you could tell me, yes, we already knew most of that, but I think this is not what this is about. This is about big data. Anyone who can access these phone logs can do these predictions for millions of phone users. They also found correlations which are completely non-obvious. For example, if the words someone uses in short messages are longer on average, this could mean extrovert but less neuroticism. Finally, when they try to predict somebody's personality just based on smartphone metadata, for example, is somebody low or high in neuroticism? If you would guess, you would get a prediction accuracy of about 50% because it's low or high. But if they used a prediction model, they did quite better, as you can see. By the way, I'm totally open, agreeable, extroverted, and neurotic. Just joking, but I finally found out the truth about me with the help of 5 labs. This analyzes your Facebook postings to predict your personality and the personality of your friends. Check it out if you want, but at your own risk. They've also calculated some big 5 profiles of some VIPs, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, 82% neuroticism, I don't know. Or Wikipedia's Jimmy Wales, only 39% on openness. I'm also not sure, but it's just based on 150 words on Facebook, and probably they even didn't write the sentences themselves. But there are also other parties interested in the Big 5. This is a slide from the British intelligence agency from the Zone leaks. It seems that they are thinking about how the Big 5 personality traits correlate with the web browsers used. For example, they found out that Firefox users are more neurotic. What they didn't analyze in the research papers I mentioned is who is calling who is your friends, who are your friends. Social networks analytics also offers powerful ways to make predictions about people. This is also just metadata. Metadata is powerful, or like the former CIA director said, we kill people based on metadata. Or listen to the guy from the NSA. He said, metadata absolutely tells you everything about somebody's life. If you have enough metadata, you don't really need content. Or to make it a bit less dramatic, this is Signify, or Signify, I don't know how to pronounce it, an US startup calculating credit scores from mobile phone call records. They say scores are created from behavioral and time-related attributes. No traditional payments data required. And 4 weeks of calling history is enough. So, what is this all about? It's about data mining, a process of discovering patterns in large data sets and to make predictions, for example, about our future behavior. Using methods like cluster analysis, association rule learning, and so on, involving methods from mathematics and statistics to machine learning. Machine learning algorithms learn from existing data, they get trained to find correlations in large data sets, and they're able to find patterns and connections between variables where human beings with their traditional statistical approaches really give up. Example, there's a company founded by a former Google employee called Zest Finance. It's about credit scoring again. They say, this is the math we all learned at Google. A page in the search results was important for what was on it, but also for how good the grammar on this page was, or which type of font was used, or when it was created. Pardon? Again? It's not good? Ah, yeah, it's okay, thanks. Now I understand. It's okay. Thanks a lot. Okay, yeah, no problem. Back to Zest Finance. So they are guys coming from Google, and they learned all the big data things from Google. Now they are combining 70,000 signals to calculate personal credit scores for people. And they say all data is credit data. We just don't know how to use it yet. Of course, it's not only phone logs or health data being collected. Today, virtually everything we do is recorded, tracked, or monitored in some way. All kinds of collected data ends up in huge clusters of databases. Data mining technologies help to find the relevant information in these massive amounts of data. But there's one US company who has probably collected the largest amount of personal information about consumers. It's called Axiom. Axiom collected up to 3,000 attributes on more than 700 million people. For example, they've got credit history, driving history, criminal history, residential history, employment history, education history, also purchase behavior, voter parties, health interests, and so on and so on. They run a YouTube channel full of nice videos, and I can't resist to show you a short part of one of these Axiom marketing videos. Pay attention how beautiful they use their X.
The world of information has sought enlightenment, a way to improve consumer data to levels never before imagined. With Infobase X, Axiom has done exactly that. No matter how good your data currently is, imagine it better. Imagine knowing the mom you've targeted as a mini vampire just became an empty nester with new car buying preferences. This is just one example of the hundreds of categories we've added. Remember the guy you targeted for patio and yard products? Now you'll know he lives in a condo. You'll go from knowing that this man likes sporting goods to knowing he's a serious fisherman. And the avid reader? It's murder mysteries she really likes. Now you'll know. In all, we have 1,600 elements, including ethnic and behavioral categories. And with more sources than ever before, our accuracy is unparalleled. How do you access all of this data? Whenever and wherever you need it, even if that's on-site at 1 or 1,000 sites. The data leader, Infobase, has reached a new level of accuracy and thoroughness. Infobase X, a revolutionary breakthrough in data. Axiom, we make information intelligent.
Okay, enough. Axiom's only one of a couple of major companies in personal data brokering. Another one would be LexisNexis Risk Solutions, also a very nice name. They've got a similar amount of data profiles on consumers and a really impressive range of offers on their website. They're not only selling data on problem renters, they also offer employment screening. Here's the employment screening enterprise edition. They say make quicker, confident pre and post hiring decisions here. And they've also got offers for healthcare. Here they say social network analytics reveal hidden relationships. And they even write somewhere on their website, we help predict the likelihood that a consumer will become delinquent in the next 18 months. And of course, they're selling the data also to governmental agencies. Look at the nice Black Hawk. And by the way, privacy is incredibly important for companies like LexisNexis or Axiom. Privacy is so important for them that the CEO of Axiom said in a video in 2012, we've been the first company having a chief privacy officer, and there's not a piece of privacy legislation written that Axiom hasn't had a voice in. I'm not sure what does he exactly mean by that. Axiom is a kind of old school data broker. They started 40 years ago with sending personalized letters, but they're trying hard to connect to the digital world. In an Axiom presentation I found 2 years ago, they asked, what if we could use social data like Google does it? In 2014, they've got partnerships with Google, with Facebook, and with Twitter. A company which has been much more state-of-the-art from the beginning is, for example, Flurry. It's a mobile analytics platform, and they're basically helping app developers to earn money. And additionally, they are monitoring the behavior of users in more than 500,000 apps on 1.4 billion smartphones and tablets all over the world. They're accessing attributes like gender, age, language, kind of devices, operating systems, and so on. But it's not only Flurry who is tracking the websites we visit and the apps we use. There are thousands of companies which are offering services for website or app developers and whose main purpose is to track users. There are even services like Segment who offer web developers to send their users' data to over 100 other third-party services at once, with the flick of a switch, as they say. Flurry is also sorting users into categories like hardcore gamers, financial geeks, new mothers, or even categories based on their sexual orientation, LGBT. Since 2014, they've additionally got a partnership with a market research consumer data company. Now they are offering more than 300 additional offline data points about income and so on. But how is Flurry able to offer information, for example, about the sexual orientation of people who they are tracking? Maybe they're using similar algorithms than the researchers of this Berkeley study. Here they asked about 60,000 volunteers to use a special Facebook app called My Personality, which had access to their Facebook profile, their likes, their profile info, and additionally they asked them to fill out extra surveys. These 60,000 Facebook users had about 170 likes on average, so pages on Facebook they liked. These researchers built prediction models, and finally they achieved to predict private attributes of the users, like ethnicity, gender, and so on, just based on these their 170 Facebook likes. These were the results. I think these numbers are quite shocking. It's really, it's just calculated from the 170 Facebook likes, no data except of that. Of course, Flurry isn't the only company doing analytics and customer segmentation. There are countless startups, for example, Insights One, who are offering real-time predictive analytics. Here they're asking, can you predict your customers' hidden needs? And the answer, with Insights One, you can. And for example, they're also offering predictive analytics for healthcare. Recently, they've been acquired by another big data company. This is a very fast business. Another example would be Social Intelligence, who are promising to drive intelligent decisions based on data from social media. They're offering products in the fields of insurance, employment, and more. Anyway, two more fancy examples in the field of the military digital complex, as I like to call it. This is Palantir, a Silicon Valley data mining company. They're offering products for companies in the fields of healthcare, insurance, and finance. Their software is based on PayPal's fraud detection algorithms, and they've got partnerships with SAP, the US Department of Defense, and with the CIA. Or Recorded Future, also a very nice name. They're offering smarter business decisions with web intelligence, and they're working for the US military and intelligence agencies as well as for big corporations. So this is the kind of horror show of personal data and big data analytics. But what if companies would use all this data out there just for marketing? This is Tell Apart, a so-called predictive marketing platform. Their slogan is "Turn our science into your sales." And let me show you how they explain their product. They're offering a 6-step program to success. Step 1, identification. The Tell Apart identity network incorporates massive amounts of data from both online and offline sources to create the Tell Apart identity key for each and every shopper. Step 2, profiling. Each Tell Apart customer data profile represents a merging of hundreds of online and in-store signals about a particular customer across the channels and devices they use. Step 3, prediction. Our models create a customer value score for each shopper and product combination, a compilation of the likelihood to purchase, predicted order size, and customer lifetime value, a kind of score about how profitable or how risky a customer is. Step 4, personalization. They're offering a dynamic message service with which assembles product images, logos, offers, and any other data into personalized content that's customized for each person and for each channel. Step 5, these personalized messages can get delivered to ad exchanges, to Facebook, cross-device targeting, mobile web, email, dynamic promotions integrated directly with the site's content. And finally, step 3, they promise to continuously optimize these marketing campaigns through the collection of real-time feedback, whether one of these messages to the customers was placed, clicked, commented on, liked, shared, followed by all interactions and conversions. This is what such a dynamic promotion could look like, a personalized limited offer in this case, based on each consumer's online and even offline behavior. But what could happen if each consumer is getting a different selection of offers or even different prices? Big global online shops are already showing each consumer's differently priced products, or even the same products at different prices based on the online behavior, the location data, and or the devices they use. A research paper from 2012 showed that individual prices differed up to 166%. In some cases, for example, Mac users got higher prices than PC users, and so on. Michel, a US privacy advocate, the founder of Reputation.com, even said he thinks it's already reality. The rich see a different internet than the poor. They're all using wonderful, innocent terms like scoring, risk management, predictive analytics, make better decisions, it's very often. But in my opinion, what they really mean is surveillance. Persuasive and omnipresent surveillance. Based on digital tracking, advertising networks, apps, our profiles. In a second step, they're offering us incentives, followed by testing different options again and again. Which incentive is more successful? Some call this A/B testing, and they call it increasing engagement, improve conversion rates, optimizing business processes, or motivating behavioral change. But what if I'd used a very old-fashioned term and just simply call it manipulation? Today, it's only about personalized experience or targeted advertising. Or one person is waiting longer on the phone hotline because the revenue prediction for this person is too bad. Or the flights and the hotels offered to you are more expensive than for others. Or that specific product in that specific online shop is out of stock, but only for you because you're predicted to be too unprofitable or too risky. In future, similar things could happen in much more areas of our lives. So, surveillance was a hard and painful job some 30 years ago, but times are changing fast. I think we really have to be careful. A future society where digital monitoring is omnipresent could have massive impacts on people's lives, options, and behaviors. We really have to be careful that information age doesn't end up in a kind of technological monitoring grid or even in a kind of digital technocracy. That's why I'm working on these issues, and that's why I published this report 2 months ago. Unfortunately, the full report is in German language only, but it has been featured in all important high-profile newspapers in German-speaking countries, and I hope that I will be able to fund an English version of it soon. Nevertheless, you can download it at crackedlabs.org, and there's also at least a document containing the contents and the references in English language. In my report, I tried to summarize how our digital traces and our behaviors are getting analyzed and how this is already being practically used from marketing to insurance, banking, and human resources. I had a comprehensive look at all the devices and platforms collecting our personal data today and in the upcoming Internet of Things. And I had a look at data brokers from list broking, database marketing, and scoring in German-speaking countries to international players and companies in the fields of online tracking and ad networks. And finally, I tried to break down the possible implications and risks for society and tried to find recommendations for different stakeholders from politics, the public, civil society, but also for companies, and last but not least for consumers. So, what has to be done? Option number 1 looks like that. This is not my notebook. No. I love digital technologies. I've been using the internet since the early 1990s, so I know that at the same time, digital communication technologies open up exciting possibilities, connecting people, sharing knowledge, and much more. But in the moment, it's mainly companies who are profiting from our personal data, and many of them are acting largely non-transparent. Consumers simply really don't know who is tracking them, how their data is being used, and how this could impact their future lives. So I think the most urgent challenge when it comes to policy recommendations is to make corporate data, personal data collection, transparent. This could also happen by supporting research about data collection and digital tracking, but of course also by regulation. Which quickly leads me to the never-ending story of the European data protection reform. I think the European Parliament did a decent job last year, but it's really unbelievable.
Sorry, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but it's really unbelievable that the Council is slowing down this so much. We need it to be good, and we need it soon. But even effective new European data protection regulation will take effect, I'm afraid, in the light of big data analytics, this maybe won't be enough. In the moment, companies are not only in control of our personal data, they're also even trying to shape our future information society. And they've got billions and billions of dollars and euros and whatever, and they are moving ahead very fast. I'm sure we need much more support of decentralized, privacy-aware technology, or maybe even a completely new industrial policy and billions for open source components and frameworks supporting another kind of innovation, which respects our privacy and much more. And there is already a large group of people committed to this kind of another internet, which is not dominated by centralized corporations, the so-called digital civil society. I think strengthening digital civil society and their critical debate about the chances and the risks of information technology, about power unbalances and between individuals, corporations, and also governments, and about new solutions for our future information society would also be very important. I mean, organizations are doing great work and they're fighting hard to get some 50,000 euros. This is really not clever. And yes, we need to strengthen digital literacy. And finally, I also think we should think about how to make also algorithms more transparent. Not only the data, but also algorithms companies are using. This is a very difficult topic, but I think there should be really discussion about it, and there should be resources for this discussion. By the way, during the last few months, I've been preparing another project. My goal is to set up Tracking the Trackers, a collaborative research platform and an online knowledge base about digital tracking, profiling, and corporate surveillance. I'm currently investigating funding options and trying to find partners. So if somebody's interested in this project, let's talk afterwards and drop me an email. I'd like to finish my presentation with a very special sentence from a very special man. Google's Eric Schmidt said in 2013, "You have to fight for your privacy or you will lose it." Friendly advice or serious threat? I don't know. This is my email address and my social media accounts. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. I think I did not promise too much, so the floor is open for your questions, remarks. Whoever wants to start. I think we equally one or two. First, we can take you one by one. Yeah? Yes, please. If you also introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Michel. I'm working at the office of an MEP, and I'm just wondering. So you were talking about, for example, Facebook likes, and you were saying that they could be used for things such as, for example, insurance decisions or even pricing purchases. Couldn't it work the same way that consumers become aware of this and therefore start modifying the social media activity in order to reach certain goals? So I don't know, if, for example, you find a student marketplace and advertisers think that the student marketplace is used by people who want to save money, wouldn't people just like this page in order to be picked up by advertisers in order to gain the lower prices? So couldn't this work both ways, in which consumers are acutely aware of those patterns and are trying to modify them to give potentially false data to advertisers in order to get those benefits?
I think it's very difficult because if you look at this study, this Facebook like study, where they try to predict ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, and so on, it's very difficult to modify someone's likes to really to make another result, because all these likes they are also only small signals. So it's not about somebody likes a page. I love gay, and then he's predicted as gay, but it's much more, it's only small predictors being used here. And I think another dependency to make it work like you described would be that the algorithms would be transparent, and it's not the case. It's transparent if you look at these academic research reports, but if you look at the companies, nothing is transparent. So you don't know what kind of analytics they're doing, which kind of data they're using, and how they're getting their results. So I think it's not possible to modify all this data to create specific results I want.
Okay. Next one, please.
I'm Julie, and I'm working at an office of an MEP too. But I was just wondering, what is like the chance for us, or what should we do to keep ourselves like protected from all that stuff?
Yeah, this is a very important question. Thanks, too. And I think yes, there are some things individuals like you and me can do. For example, you can install so-called ad blockers or similar software in the web browser, so that all these online tracking companies are not able to track your website visits anymore. You can check your privacy settings on all the different apps and social networks. It's also, yeah, it doesn't make sense to install every app and to use every service. For example, handy apps accessing the GPS location and the address book, and they're just a lighter. Just a light, it doesn't make sense at all. So you can think about what apps you install and so on. But I think it's really difficult for individuals to do it right. I think there have to be other things. There are other things that have to be done by politics, by companies, and so on. And if you look at Facebook, for example, they're also collecting data about people who are even not registered on Facebook, so-called shadow profiles. So it's also not enough to just throw your computer away. It's not so easy.
Yes, please. Just, I mean, because we are in this room, this very room, 2 years ago we had a presentation of a search engine called
Sorry.
Start Page. It's quick.
Sorry,
They
and
pretended that they would not have any tracking. No?
yeah, and you can also use other kind of apps which are privacy aware. Yes, for example, search engines, or yeah, for example, there is also Diaspora, the social network, the privacy respecting social network. But I think the problem with Diaspora is if you look at the problem is you don't see the numbers because it's on the left side. The third one is support of decentralized privacy-aware technology, and this is what I mean. Diaspora had got, I think, about $400,000 to develop this, and this is nothing compared to what Facebook or other social network companies had. So it was not successful until now. Nobody is there, but we can still use it. Yeah.
My name is Max Andersson, and I'm an MEP from Sweden. And like many of us, I suspect, always get these exciting offers of cheap hotel rooms in Strasbourg whenever the European Parliament is in session. That illustrates that the intelligence of these pattern recognition programs and machines is well, not that developed yet. And they are making mistakes, and companies are making decisions based on these mistakes. I'm wondering whether the EU General Data Protection Regulation, whether that will help a lot or just a little with these problems that we have talked about. That's my first question. And the second question is, how much does it help to make algorithms transparent? I know that Google does not have transparent algorithms because when they have, people are using that knowledge in order to skew the results. So would that really help, or have I misunderstood something?
The second, could you again the second question? I'm not very sure about this.
How much will it help to make algorithms transparent, really? Because people are going to use that information in order to present themselves or in a different light. Companies are going to use it. And also, my third question is, would it make sense to use the instrument of law forbidding insurance companies to take certain decisions based on these information, that I'm afraid that will be very difficult to stop. To forbid, whenever we can think of some truly horrible way of misinterpreting and misusing this information, then we make a new law about the companies that this is a way you should not misuse the information. Would that be a workable solution? I suspect it's not that workable, but maybe we have to go that way.
Thank you for the 3 questions.
Yeah, the first question, I don't know. If companies are making wrong decisions based on maybe wrong information, based on wrong algorithms about you, and one thing is to get a wrong offer for a hotel, another thing is to not get insurance policy, for example, or really drastic or not getting a job. And yes, I think it really doesn't maybe help so much the data protection regulation on this, because if they make wrong decisions, and for example, they also make decisions if they have too less data about you. So this is in credit scoring, this is quite normal since a long time. If they have too less information, then you're scored bad. So data protection doesn't help in this case, because this is another problem. This is maybe a problem of discrimination, or this leads me to the other questions you said. I think to make algorithms transparent could help, specifically, for example, if it would be in specific fields, when companies are making decisions in the fields of, for example, insurance or banking or human resources, if there would be a way to regulate which kinds of data and which kinds of algorithms they are allowed to use to make these kinds of decisions. This would make sense for me. Yes. Was it okay? I don't.
The third question.
This was the second and the third, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a good question. Answer to the third question also.
Good thinking. Other questions? So, also invite you not only to come up with one question, you can also raise more questions. Anyone else wants to take the opportunity?
It's also okay not to. It's also okay not only to ask questions, but maybe somebody has a new idea, comments, whatever.
Michel, you want to do?
Yeah, what I was thinking about, which is what would be the worst possible usage of this technology, and I think that's probably governments tracking you. And I'm not talking about new surveillance, but using the data the government already stores, your tax data, the place you live, and whatever the government gets. You would be able in an election to completely manipulate what kind of information you see, even without lying. You could have 10 candidates, one proposing more surveillance, one proposing less surveillance, one raising taxes, one lowering taxes, and so on, and just do a campaign for the candidate of your party, which would statistically fit most for the person in front of the computer. And if you start using this data in the democratic process, and which would be able probably right now with the data right now, I think it's a horrible threat. And we're developing it for commercial proposals, but it would be easy to use for manipulation of democracy.
Yeah, it's still it's already being used. There was many reports, but maybe you turn it off. I think there were many reports about the U.S. election campaigns, especially about the Obama campaign. and I once, 1.5 years ago, I met the big data director of the Obama campaign in Vienna, and he said, yeah, they used all kinds of data. They bought it from consumer data brokers, whatever they used. They have detailed profiles about every single voter, and then they try to do their micro-targeting thing based on this data. So this is already happening.
Okay, other questions? Yes, please, Thomas.
Thank you, I'm Thomas Stiegmann from the Austrian Social Democratic Delegation. And my question is, wouldn't data tracking and the usage of prediction based on big data, wouldn't that be a very good tool in counterterrorism?
You mean all these technologies, you could use it for counterterrorism?
That was a very provocative question in the light of the attacks in Paris, and now the discourse is going on collecting more data, using it on security measures.
Yeah, I think it's already being used. There are also, for example, the company Recorded Future I mentioned before. It's a company working for the CIA, and they're doing open source intelligence and predictive analytics and so on. And I think there are many programs who are working on this. And I think it's a big drastic problem for me, but when I'm honest, I don't focus so much on the governmental surveillance. I'm focusing on the corporations. I know since 2 or 3 weeks this is really a difficult subject now, because it's not so on topic to talk about companies and corporations, but I think this is also important to talk about the corporate surveillance thing. But for sure, yes, you can use it, and there is a big potential for abuse also if governments would use all these technologies.
I mean, it's being used, and it is pretended that it can predict certain behavior. It does not always work, as my colleague was stated before. But so I think this is really happening, and there are also companies in countries where there is no high level of data protection. For instance, in New Zealand, selling their services to European member states, offering them their analytic services in analyzing data. But my question is, it is right, and I'm very happy for this that you are concentrating on the commercial aspects, but is there not a kind of interrelationship between state surveillance and private tracking as it comes to the recent NSA scandal, where we have all these mixtures of state and commercial activities, and it's sometimes not very easy to distinguish.
I think there are strong interrelations. There are many examples of this. For example, there is Max Kelly, the former chief security officer from Facebook, who was responsible for the privacy and security of 1 billion Facebook users. He changed to the NSA in 2010. So the same people are working for commercial companies and also for military or intelligence services. Many companies are working on products which can be used in both areas. There are also many examples. For example, there are tattoos which have embedded sensors to measure some the temperature of the skin and things like that, so you can track this, and you can use that in medicine. But the same company who is working on that also delivers it to soldiers to measure the stress level of the soldiers. So many of these technologies can be used in both areas. And by the way, many of these technologies can also be used for good, I think. Not the predictive, not so much a predictive analytics thing and so on, but it's no question. measuring, for example, if I would like to measure my body and health data. This could be a great thing, but if I want to do it, it would be really important for me that I know that the companies producing this fitness trackers or running the apps won't abuse my health data. And in the moment, I have to trust them. In the moment, this is not reality. So, yeah, thanks.
I have two more questions, and we have to close at 2 o'clock. Yes, please. Gentleman first, and then the lady.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I'm Muni, I'm a senior financial advisor. One question is the following. How and to what extent the technology is a European, and how and to what extent the technology is an American one? Now we have also the Chinese technology. So how do you see the digital dialogue between Europe with the US and China? And who is the dominating actor in imposing standards, technical standards? Are we going to consider, are we geared towards global standards, universal standards, and who is imposing the standards? Thank you.
This is also a difficult question for me because maybe it's too easy to say, okay, Silicon Valley is dominating this. I think it's even not true. I think there are several, there are also companies working on all these predictive analytics things and so on that are based in Europe. For example, SAP also works on all these things based in Germany, and so on and so on. For me, this is really a difficult question. And when I'm saying that, for example, the European Union could support decentralized privacy-aware technology, I want to repeat, it's not about the European search engine or the European social network. It doesn't make sense at all. But it's about components and about an ecosystem for this another kind of innovation, and maybe also about setting standards, as you said. I don't know if there is so much interrelation or this kind of innovation coming from China in the moment. More from India.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm working also for an MEP here, and I had a question for your policy recommendations. You talked about the price discrimination, especially by bigger firms or by insurances. And don't you think there would be a scope in antitrust regulation from the EU, which already works against price discrimination, to kind of enlarge that regulation and tackle the problem from that side? So to kind of keep companies from just starting to market in that way?
I want to be honest. I'm not an economist and I'm not a lawyer. So it sounds logical to me what you're saying, but it's really it's difficult for me to really say no. Okay, yes, it's a good idea, or no, it's not a good idea. How to fight price discrimination? I don't know. It's also a difficult subject because the problem with price discrimination is that you don't know when if there is price discrimination, because if everybody gets personalized prices, you can't compare it, and you can't see it when the algorithms are non-transparent. You can see if you can't see if there is discrimination. This is the fundamental problem.
Quick question or remark. If this is not the case, do you want to round it up?
No, I think I've said enough, and I would be happy if you're interested. We can also talk afterwards if you have time. I would be happy about that.
Okay, then I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you for your attention, for your contributions, and I think what we certainly take with us is do not destroy your devices. So let's open a discussion, a dialogue, a discourse on the developments. I think we have to say, at least for myself, yes to technological development, but we have to discuss under which circumstances this is possible, and I think the most important aspect is to have more transparency. Transparency in that matter at the moment is really lacking. So it was a small step, an important step towards more transparency. Thank you very much.